Welcome to the MaSter Debaters, everybody, the show where we solve pop culture's problems one outrage at a time. I'm Abe, co-host of the Movies and Stuff show, which can be seen live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. And tonight is Hillary Clinton's historic acceptance of the Democratic Party's nomination for president. There are accusations from Bernie Sanders supporters of professional seat fillers taking their seats away from them and white noise machines strategically placed to drown out their protests. Joining me tonight are three white noise machines. First up, it's my co-host on the Movies and Stuff show. He can tell you the best place to eat in Queens at midnight, and he can also probably tell you the sodium content of each and every dish. He could be the most frequent guest on MaSter Debaters, but he chose to have sex instead. The man himself, Dan.
That's right. The seed is strong, Abe. The seed is strong.
Second up, it's the man that whiles away his free time defending the auteur theory to intellectual lightweights. Or he's crafting erotic fan fiction about NPR personalities. When he's not doing either of those, he's an independent filmmaker. When he's not doing any of that, he's the host of the Vegetable Lasagna Show, Mondays, right here on this channel. It's Tom.
And what time does Hillary talk tonight? Am I going to miss that doing this thing?
I have no idea, dude. It's not baseball. I don't know. And finally, making his triumphant return to the show is the man that's apologized to Jamil for even letting him come on with us. The man that recently informed me that we have fundamentally different tastes in movies, which mean, of course, his tastes suck. The man everybody wants to be, the Macadocious Jack Random.
Hey, Abe, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Pretty good with my good taste in movies. How are you?
Your taste is... The first time we ever spoke, you praised Superman Returns.
Superman Returns.
And for a good, I don't know, I think the next three conversations we had, I was just assuming you were being sarcastic.
Yep.
Imagine my surprise.
Imagine your surprise. I'm trying to. All right, guys, let's get into it. This is the debate show. I'm going to give you each 60 seconds as I throw out three topics. You have that time to make your points. If you don't get the point out in time, I'm cutting you off and moving on to the next person. Let us get into it. Topic one. There were rumors floating around there last week that Paramount wants, if the box office would allow, to do a Star Trek 4. The other rumor is they want to bring Thor back as Kirk's dad. The other little tiny rumor was that this might actually restore the Star Trek Prime timeline. So I want to know from you, are you going to rest easy knowing that Picard's timeline could be restored? Dan, we're starting with you.
No, I think it's a terrible idea.
Oh.
I mean, they finally did something right with Star Trek by rebooting it in the 2009. I loved how they set that up for future movies and set up this brand new storyline. They did something right for a change. And, I mean, they shit the bed on Into Darkness. But then they put out this very good movie in Star Trek Beyond. They're actually building upon this principle that JJ set forth in 2009. So to say that we're going to tear this down and go back to what it was before or try to do something else, no. Let it play out a bit. And then buy yourself some time and hope that what Fuller's doing on his TV show can then be marketed and made into movies. So I just say keep going with what you're doing right now, let Fuller do his thing, and then bring his stuff to the big screen when that's ready. Don't reboot it now. It's pointless to.
Over to you, Tom.
Well, first of all, I think this whole idea that Chris Hemsworth needs to come back into the fold, I think it's just... I don't understand why studios need to pick some muscular Australian actor who can't lead a franchise and push him into everything every few years. I mean, it's the same idea with Sam Worthington here. I don't know that he's really had a box office success outside of Avengers, so I don't know why taking him and putting him back in the fold of Star Trek makes sense, except it seems like they really want to just make use of all the different characters they can so that they seem like they're mixing it up more than they are. I don't really know, but I get the sense that's kind of what it's going to be with Picard, too. It seems like they like to mix up all the timelines in this new thing so that it's new stuff you haven't seen before with characters interacting you haven't seen. I don't really get the appeal, but I'm not a big Star Star Trek guy, so I think it sounds kind of dumb, but it sounds like they might just be out of ideas for the movies anyway, or they didn't really know what to do after rebooting it, which I think is JJ's specialty. He can reboot, but after that, I don't know.
All right, Mr. Random.
Well, I agree with Dan and Tom. This just seems like completely unnecessary. I think the film so far, I mean, I like the first two. I know Dan said he didn't like Inner Darkness, but I thought it was okay. The first one I thought was fine. So what would be the point of going back to the universe that they very publicly abandoned? And they went off on this completely alternate timeline, so there's really no point in bringing it back because, as far as I'm concerned, it's working. And as far as bringing back Hemsworth, I like to see Thor in different things, but he's still just Thor, and he's dead, and there's really no point. So that part of the story's done. Move on. I don't know. I think this rumor is like much ado about nothing.
All right. Jack, you ever break up with a girl and then hook up and then then break up again?
I might have.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if that's what this is. It's a little regret. You're looking over there going, wow, Picard, Data, even Janeway's looking pretty good to me now. I don't know. What do you think?
They could do a different... there's really nothing that says that timeline can't happen. I mean, with the current movies they're doing. I mean, is there? I mean, unless there's... I haven't seen the new one. So unless something ridiculous happens in the new one, which prevents... an eventual Picard or next generation kind of reboot, there shouldn't be any problem. They shouldn't have to reorganize the series they're doing now in order to make the next generation happen.
It's no surprise, is it, Dan, that the comic book fan can just let all these universes exist, right? I mean, that's
no problem.
Yeah,
that's kind of that's the universe we live in. Yeah. Everything can change in a blink. It could be like 4 Kirks existing simultaneously, and I just shrug and like, yeah, makes sense to me.
Is it gonna make sense to you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not much of a debate right now because I'm agreeing with Jack. Like, honestly, if you have this different timeline, the timeline can keep going forward and lead into this timeline's version of Picard. Maybe this version of Picard is a bad guy. Who knows? I mean, just think, it's not like blowing everything up. It's giving us the option. It's giving the audience the option to see something different, something new, and it's giving the studio what JJ did, give the studio an out to say we don't have to be 100% beholden to all the stories. It's not like we're remaking things. We're trying to do our own thing in this separate timeline. It just makes no sense to me to try to go backwards at this point. It would be a sign of weakness. It would just say we were stupid to do it in the first place, and the only stupid thing they did was make Into Darkness.
Wow.
Doesn't it seem like it's like a TV show that just has run out of new commercials that are going to make you excited for the next week? So you're like, next week we're bringing back Kirk's dad. Next week after that we're bringing Picard back. I mean, it seems like they just don't really have actual Star Trek stories they want to tell. So every single time they have, it's Khan, I mean, what do we reboot it for? I guess I don't even know at this point.
Star Trek is loaded with continuity and people that really pay attention to the continuity. By doing this, they could throw that out the window and they'd have the freedom to do whatever they want, like bring back Khan.
Like use all the same things.
Right.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is if they can buy themselves some time, and hopefully Fuller's show is a big hit, and they can make, big screen content from what Fuller's doing, and give Fuller this bigger budget to do like a, 2+ hour film. I think he'd like that. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As long as Fuller stays away from the slow-mo, I'm all in.
No, who cares? More slow-mo. Bring Mads. Mads will come back. They'll just do kind of like Hannibal in space.
Hannibal in space. I think that's a good place to end it right there. Let's move on to topic 2. A trailer was released for Blair Witch 3. I don't know if you guys remember, but in 1999, Blair Witch was such a huge cultural phenomenon. And like all pop culture phenomenons, the inevitable backlash was pretty swift and it was fucking harsh. I want to know from you guys, what is Blair Witch's legacy? Does it even deserve this kind of attention? And let's start with Tom.
Well, I think Blair Witch was definitely a product of its time. It happened to hit at the right time to sort of bring this, the found footage genre sort of can start there. And I think it's good for that, whether you actually like it or think it holds up or not. It's like any of those movies that happen to hit right at the right time by switching things up just enough. I don't know that it's something that I'm really eager to return to. It's not something, I don't really turn to the genre at all. So I think in terms of bringing it back or doing this more of it, I think the legacy right now is just like any other franchise. I think that they've realized, okay, well, we have a property that we can bring just a little bit more excitement to than if we did just some other Blair Witch ripoff like there have been so many of. So I think this new one is just showing that it's another one of these things that you can take. So it's not really found footage at this point that's exciting. It's just revisiting old franchises and rebooting them and doing more to it. So I think the legacy is just it was the right place, right time. Now it's just another franchise to reboot like everything else.
I got you. Jack, it's your place, your time.
The legacy of Blair Witch. Well, full disclosure, people, I have never seen the Blair Witch Project. It always seemed dumb. And well, to this day, I asked somebody, well, what's it about? And no one can tell me beyond, a bunch of kids get stuck in the woods. Oh, yeah, I'm spending my money on that. Fuck that. It just sounds dumb. And I think the real hook was, as I recall, the hook was people weren't sure if it was a real documentary or not, or if it was real discovered footage. And so the big debate was this actually real? And just from hearing about it, I knew that it wasn't. So I think the legacy is, I think found footage films, discovered footage films have run their course. Unless they do something really funky with it now, because after Cloverfield, it's done. There's no point in doing found footage movies anymore.
No. All right, Dan.
I disagree with Jack. It doesn't seem like a dumb movie. It is a dumb movie. It was terrible.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't know for sure.
I saw it in theaters. I absolutely did not like it. Now, that said, it does have a legacy, and there's kind of two parts to that legacy. One is it was a huge success made with very, very little money. And to that, horror films continue, to try to do that. Shoestring budgets try to become this big hit. Found footage, as Tom was saying, that kind of started that. That's kind of the legacy that's lived on. And it's also kind of turned into a legacy of one too many movies. Because after the first one, they shouldn't have made another one. They should have just stopped at that first one, lived as one of the most unique horror things that by doing a sequel to it, it watered it down even more so and just kind of ruined what they were trying to do.
There you go. All right. I don't know. That's been a thing with movies before. Is it real? Is it not real? They have played with that before. I remember the big debate about Mark Wahlberg at the end of Boogie Nights.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, the first found footage film that I can think of wasn't a Cannibal Holocaust, and there was a big beef, and I think that was taken off the shelves because people thought it was real.
Yes.
Faces of Death. Those Faces of Death films as well. I remember watching those, and those all kind of came out to be fake now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But everyone thought those were real. Everyone thought that the torture and the executions and stuff were all real, but in a way, not found footage, but kind of akin to that as well.
Right.
But I think Blair Witch still had that honor, that distinction of being the flagship one that really just made a killing at the box office. Like it was a cultural phenomena.
And Dan, you made the good point. It didn't cost anything to make.
Nothing.
So that was like pure profit.
Do you think that, if that was Blumhouse's 2016 January release, would anyone care? Would we still be talking about it at this point, or do you think it was just the right time?
It was the right time.
It was the right time. I think the internet was becoming very common for everybody in 1999, and that was really a searched upon film. They really enhanced it with their website, really pumping up the Blair Witch legend and things like that. I think you're right. It was right place, right time for that.
But you think it's good. You actually like it.
I actually like the movie. I think this is not an accidental horror film.
This is
an edit. This is edited pretty well, and it ramps up the tension. And at the end, it's really good. I thought the last shot was it stays with you.
So we've got people like you to thank for the last 4 Paranormal Activity movies.
You've also got me to thank for August Underground.
Well, I was about to say that. Yeah. I think August Underground was more effective than Blair Witch. Honestly.
Well, I'm not gonna debate that. August Underground is one of the most effective horror films I've ever seen.
I think it was so much more effective than Blair Witch, and probably made for even less money than Blair Witch.
Yeah, and Fred Vogel was going to play up the whole "is it real, is it not" before 9/11, and remember he decided to back off.
Yeah, and I mean, for anyone that's interested in August Underground or learning more about it, we actually our Fred Vogel interview is on YouTube. You should definitely check it out. We had a great conversation with him about it and some of the fun stories about him at the Canadian border.
Yes,
with offensive material.
Canada was not a fan of August Underground.
No.
So, okay, let's just boil it down. Are you going to see Blair Witch 3, Tom?
No, I don't really see any of these horror movies that come out. I don't know that it's something. Does anyone really think it's going to add anything so exciting to, I don't know, the Blair Witch canon that we have to see it, or it's going to transform horror movies? It's just another sequel to another horror movie that's come out forever ago, I think.
Dan?
No, I admittedly am a fan of all the Saw films. Like, I have a soft spot in my heart for all of the Saw films. If they put out another Saw film, I would go see it. That said, no interest in seeing Blair Witch, though.
Jack,
I think
you and me, Jack, come to Kansas City. We'll get in our jammies and we'll watch Blair Witch.
I didn't see the first one.
No, we'll have a Blair Witch marathon.
This is one of those cases where I think even had I seen the first one, even if I had enjoyed the first one, it's 20 years too late. It's gone. Like Tom said, what are they going to do? Are they going to actually show the Blair Witch? I mean, I don't care.
Fair enough.
Truth be told, I hated The Sixth Sense as well when I saw that in the theaters.
Well, would you see the sequel today?
No, wouldn't see that either. You know what one I did like, though, that came out around the same time? Stir of Echoes. Love Stir of Echoes. Kevin Bacon one.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah. Love that one. If they did a sequel to that, I'd see that one. Yeah,
okay.
Stir of Echoes 2, Electric Boogaloo.
There we go. We are going to talk about the Saw, I guess, sequel down the road.
Are we? All right.
Yeah.
You were serious about that, eh?
There really is. They really are making a new Saw. I wasn't blowing smoke.
They don't need to.
I'm with Dan though. I love those soap opera.
I don't have a
movies.
problem with those movies. I think the franchise as a whole is a very solid horror franchise,
yes.
And as silly as some of the deaths were, everything kind of made sense.
Yeah. So much fun. It was so much fun.
I think they kind of definitively. Well, I guess they didn't definitively end it because he still has a couple of apprentices running around. So
yes, he does. All right.
Fuck it, I'm there.
All right. Yeah, right.
I'm there.
I'm not asking you, Tom. I know.
I saw the first 3. Actually, I kind of liked the first 2, and then the third one, I just.
You saw 3. That's a level of commitment I've never known you to have.
I know. Yeah, I made it to 3 of them, and then I haven't gone back.
Yeah, you were going to tie a noose if we made you see a third Marvel movie. All right, we're going to move on to topic 3. Aside from killing everybody, 2016 will be remembered, at least I thought, for making really, really bad trailers. Then all of a sudden, last week from Comic-Con, the trailers started coming out and they looked amazing. Wonder Woman looked pretty good. Justice League, Final Fantasy, the Lego Movie, American Gods, they all looked really good. What I want to know from you is what's the takeaway here? Are studios not named Sony getting better and better at cutting trailers? Or are we just truly on the cusp of getting some interesting flicks? And whose turn is it? Jack.
Jack's turn.
Oh, snap.
Wow. Anyway, well, I think right now it's not that everyone. I think everyone has suddenly learned how to make a decent trailer. I think the technology's there that really there's no excuse to come out with bad looking trailer anymore. Everything is supposed to look good. Now it's I expect now all trailers look so good now that I expect every movie I go into to be horrible because all of the trailers have the same amount of quality. They're all made by the same people. It looks like the same amount of gloss. Even they even almost made Ghostbusters look palatable. But it's easy to make a good looking trailer. It's tough to make a good movie, as we have seen. And then that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, shut it down, Dan.
I'm guessing that we're probably on the cusp of seeing some really good stuff coming up. That said, the Batman v Superman trailer was terrible. I hated the trailers for BVS, and I thought the trailers just revealed so much of the plot. I mean, you basically saw the whole movie in the trailers of that. And I think to the point of I'm hoping that these films are going to be good. I think DC learned from that mistake, because the Wonder Woman trailer, they did a much better job with it. Justice League, I think they did a better job of it, even though it looked kind of more like a Marvel film. Well, I guess maybe that was the point that they were going for. I like the Kong trailer. I thought the Kong trailer was pretty good. So I do think that people are getting better at trailers, but you also have to have some good content to put in those trailers. So I'm hoping that this is going to mean that we're going to see some good movies coming up. At least, fingers crossed that happens. Who knows?
Thomas.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to make something that suggests you have a lot of quality and cool things in a story than to actually go through with that. So I think, yeah, we probably are in a position where people are really good at learning how to sell things that look like they're going to be a lot better than they are, because you don't have to actually answer all the hard questions and figure out all these things. So I think that that's the case, but I don't think we're on the resurgence of having a bunch of great superhero tentpoles come out, because if anything, box office has shown that you don't have to have any more depth, and certainly not any more quality than a Marvel movie to do really well. I think when they try, they don't tend to do as well. So if anything, from a financial standpoint, there's no reason to try to do anything more than they're doing, and I don't know why they would. But at the same time, you can sell them a lot better. You can make it look cooler. You can make it look like you have new, more interesting things going on. So I think that people are learning how to do that. They're learning how to sell it better, and also learning how to build off of things like making it look more like Marvel but cooler, whether it is or it isn't.
That was brutal, Tom. Does anybody want to respond to that? Because I have a couple thoughts about that, but I want to
go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what Tom's describing is the culture right before the video game crash. The games weren't improving, but there was a hell of a lot more advertising.
What is the video game crash for someone like me? I don't know what that is.
When Atari just went belly up and destroyed the video game industry.
Okay.
They had to
1983-ish.
Yeah, right. You remember the whole story? They had to bury all those ET cartridges in the middle of the desert because nobody wanted them at all.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean that's exactly what you're describing. They're not worried about improving quality. They're worried about
improving the marketing.
Exactly.
Well, that's all you have to do. I mean, that's what people are going to care about. They want to care about the marketing. They'll go. You just have to get to that point where they'll say, "Yeah, it was all right. I'll see the next one, I guess."
Right. Honestly, it's setting the bar very low, and it's as long as you don't put in a complete shit movie or something that just completely turns people off. I think people are going to be rather forgiving, even with as much hate as Batman v Superman got. Everyone's going to go see Justice League. I mean, it's going to happen. It's like, well, I'll give Justice League a chance. And people hate it. It's like one of the lowest Rotten Tomato scores ever. And people are going to be, yeah, I'll still see Justice League. And that's the point, though, is even with something someone hated, they're still going to give that a chance. And it's, you put a nice glossy package on it like they did with this Justice League trailer. Because all this Justice League trailer was Ben Affleck pretending to be Tony Stark from Marvel, collecting his Avengers, got some witty kind of like, so are you in? Oh, yeah, I'm in. Oh, that's all it took? Oh, yeah, no, yeah, like...
Yeah,
straight out of a Marvel scene. Like that was Tony Stark talking to like Spider-Man,
The Marvel stuff is entertaining though. That Justice League trailer, Kyle and I were bumping heads over this earlier. I didn't find the Justice League trailer to be entertaining at all. I didn't find it to be Marvel-like or even Marvel-light. No. It was just the same bullshit, same fucking bullshit. I don't care. I'm going to see it because just like I buy an issue of Justice League if the previous issue sucked, because I hope this one will be better. So they didn't need a trailer. I'm going to see it, and if only just to have ammo to bitch at Kyle about. That's the only reason I'm going to see it.
I think that's a good point. I think it creates this mentality where maybe it's the same thing with comic books, with like TV shows during a season. There are episodes you don't like, but you're going to keep watching it because, all right, well, I kind of want to see where it's going to end up. And they've got sort of perpetual season finales coming out. You want to see what's going to happen. What are the stakes going to be? And you make everything sort of irrelevant in the middle as a result of this.
Well, part of it is, you feel like you're invested or you have something invested in. In my case, anyway, I'm damn near 50-year-old comic fan, been reading them since I was 3, so that's how long I have invested in this shit. So you're damn right I'm going to see these movies. And they're going to suck, and I feel like I have every right to bitch about it, because I have so much invested. Like you said, Tom, TV shows, you've watched for the whole season, even though the show's gone to hell. I have devoted 24 weeks of my life to this shit. I'm going to see how it winds up.
I also think that there's just so many superhero films, comic book films and stuff that have come out, that I don't think one decisive death knell could end this. It's not like in the 80s where it was so sporadic that these comic book films were being made that a Superman 4 just kind of killed the genre until Batman, until Tim Burton could kind of reinvigorate it a bit, and then Batman killed the genre for a while until,
True.
We have this recent kind of resurgence. So I think that there's just so much. It's the same thing. It's like all you have to do is have one of those be amazing out of the bunch, and people will be like, "Yeah, comic book films rule." There's not going to be that death knell like there was before.
You may be right.
Yeah, could be. Well, you guys want to do a bonus topic?
Sure.
Okay.
The enthusiasm.
Yes.
I was going to say earlier on, I felt that we had probably the most enthusiasm of any group that has done this show.
Oh, I think so. I
think we're, every time Abe usually has guests on, it's like, how's it going?
Yeah,
we're all at least into this.
I stopped asking people, "Are you ready to go?" at the beginning of the show a long time ago, because I'm just like, you can hear the fucking crickets.
That's part of the charm.
Yeah.
Well, then you mentioned that Hillary's talking, and then that's all I'm thinking about when we start. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
Anyway,
to pull you away from that. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about a bonus topic.
I always like the mystery around the bonus topic.
Yes, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen.
You never expect it. I found this interesting, so that's why I wanted to force it in. A teaser trailer came out for Trainspotting 2. Apparently, Danny Boyle is going full-on Linklater, and he's going to bring back the same actors to play themselves 20 years later. I just want to know, just real quick, are you excited at all or interested at all to see Trainspotting 2? I guess Dan would say Electric Boogaloo. Let's start with you.
You know me too well, because every sequel should just be
Yes,
part 2 Electric Boogaloo. I'm going to pull a Jack random here and say that I have never seen Trainspotting 1.
Oh, my God.
So how can I be excited about Trainspotting 2 if I have never seen the actual first one? That said, I do know that my wife is a fan of Trainspotting 1. So if a sequel does come out and she wants to see it, I guess I'll have to see the first one and then go see the second one. So I guess if you had to rate my excitement level, it would be just however excited my wife was to go see this film. If she's not excited at all, my excitement level still stays completely down to the ground. I don't know much about this. Who's it? Ewan McGregor. There's someone named Sick Boy, I think, who was a villain in Dexter for a season. So there's drugs apparently involved, and maybe they spot trains.
There you go.
That's the summation.
Tom, it's shit being Scottish. Come on now.
I have seen it. I remember it better than I remember Blair Witch, so I can probably talk about it if we really wanted to. But I tend to like that Linklater kind of style of sequels. I don't know that it works most of the time, or even like in Boyhood, I didn't think it worked. But I love that sort of revisiting characters after their lives have changed. I think if you actually account for the time difference between the sequels, that tends to be more interesting, I think, than the ones where basically turning into the sitcom where status quo this year, same thing. So I think it's fun. I haven't read the book for the sequel, so I don't really know what's in store for it. I haven't seen the trailer either, but I'm on board. I think it's interesting. I like that. I like the Linklater style. I love the Before series. I don't know if Abe likes it, but I feel like he's saying it in a mean way. But those are great. Those are great movies. That's a fun way to do it. So So yeah, I'm on board. Let's go for it.
Whenever I say Linklater, it's in a mean way. Jack, over to you.
I haven't seen Train Spotting. Where'd you go? Okay. I haven't seen Train Spotting since I saw it the one time at the theater, and I barely remember it. But what I do remember is that I did not want to see it again. When I've been channel surfing lately and it's popped up and I'll click it and it'll say, in description it'll say comedy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't remember it being funny. I don't remember it being a comedy. And I was just going to, you gave me a heads up that we're going to talk about this. So I popped it on the Netflix earlier. And 20 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, I remember. I fucking hated this movie. Ooh. So, yeah, they can make another one. I don't care. But I am interested in movies if they do a sequel some years later and the characters are in a different place, that can be interesting. But I don't think it'd be interesting enough in this case to get.
I understand. Tom, Boyhood took 12 years to make. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You can't hate it. You can't hate it.
But the kid just grew up to be boring, so they couldn't really help it. He's not a screen presence halfway through that movie.
Oh, my God. No, I am actually curious about this. It's another little product of its time and place when Miramax was like ruling the world. It felt like you had to go watch Pulp Fiction, then Train Spotting, which is somehow always connected to each other.
Yeah.
That's just how it was interesting. And I think if I remember how Danny Boyle works, we're due for a good movie now.
Is that how he works?
It's good movie, bad movie, good movie, bad movie. And he just did Steve Jobs, so we're due for a hit, right?
Yeah. Steve Jobs was bad.
Anybody else see it or no?
That's not the Ashton Kutcher one, right? This is the Michael Fassbender one?
Yeah, that was Magneto one. Yep.
Yeah.
Magneto one.
I'm trying to speak on Jack Random's level. Here we go.
So that's when I went, oh, yeah, that is. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, man. I think it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Anybody else got anything to add to that?
I've really enjoyed how much Abe and Jack's contrast of taste has been brought out as a
strong
motif this episode.
It started in the beginning and ran through.
You think he only disagrees with me? Get him to start talking about Coen Brothers, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Once he starts talking about Coen Brothers movies he likes.
Well, that's when I realized that was like strike three with me and you, Abe. He's like, I think you said No Country for Old Men was like one of your favorite Coen Brothers, and I said I think mine was like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And you were like bleh. And so
I don't think either of those are bad choices. Like honestly,
I wouldn't pick either of those for my favorite.
I wouldn't pick either of those as my favorite either. But I don't think bad choice. That's the problem with the Coen Brothers. It's not like you're going to make a really bad choice.
Really?
I mean, well,
Lady Killers is out there tapping his foot.
I still like Lady Killers.
Lady Killers had to grow on me. I like
the original Lady Killers too.
I never did see the original one. Okay, so the Intolerable Cruelty.
I like that one.
Not bad.
I think they're watchable. I mean, even they're not necessarily that memorable, some of those ones, but
I had to watch Burn Before Reading twice, but then I eventually got to really enjoy it.
Burn Before Reading, like it.
Interesting. All right.
I think No Country is the least Coen-esque, and I think that turns me off a little bit.
The dialogue in that movie just crackles. If we're just going to completely derail the show, it's just I just really like it. How it just really pops. It almost feels like John Sayles wrote it.
It's a little depressing, a little more depressing than the usual.
Really, you think so? You think Fargo was that comedic romp that was upbeat? Was it the woman getting shot in the head with the tea kettle?
It's on fire. I think Fargo ends with more humanity than you get out of No Country the whole time. There's so much nihilism. I can't do the nihilism. It's a little too much for me. I'll take the wandering existentialism of The Man Who Wasn't There is one of my favorites, or A Serious Man.
Say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism. At least that's an ethos.
All right, that was a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun every week on this channel. We really do. Mondays, Tom does vegetable lasagna with Chris. Chris is quite a character. You should check him out. Tom, what are you going to be doing Monday on vegetable lasagna?
I have to see a movie sometime between now and then. I don't know yet. We'll be reviewing something, and we'll be talking about our lives or something, I guess. So.
Yes.
That's all I got.
I like that. Dan, what are we doing Tuesday?
I think we're gonna try to do the Killing Joke, right?
Oh, they're doing a roundtable on the Killing Joke.
I think we'll try to do a roundtable on the Killing Joke. So I think that's what we're aiming to do. I'll it might just be me and you talking about it, but the Killing Joke is probably going to be our episode.
I have a feeling we're going to get some hate mail from Mr. Random about that episode.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but the way we go, I imagine. Jack, what are you up to, man?
Well, we just uploaded a new episode of the Jack Random Show today, the new Jack Random podcast, and we talked about the Killing Joke. We originally planned on talking about this silly movie documentary on Magic the Gathering, the tournament, and then we realized early on during the show that the three of us had seen Killing Joke, and so derailed the show, and that's what we ended up talking about. Oh, we should over Ghostbusters too.
Oh.
Did Jamil finally admit that it's a terrible film? Did he?
He's leaning. Yeah, I know. I saw you guys.
It was seriously, we had him.
He was a lot more vocal about the faults this time. I'll say that. I got Kyle to admit it wasn't very good.
Jamil, I am so sorry that you ended up doing a show with Jack and Kyle.
Ain't that a bitch? Wow.
He really did. He really apologized to Jamil for coming on with us. I just want to get that on the record. Thank you so much, everybody. We would really appreciate it if you would like this video, comment, and let Jack know how his Coen brother tastes suck. We want to know if Dirk Diggler's junk is real. That's a burning question for real. And, if you haven't already, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel so you get those little push alerts every time we go live. Because, we've been hitting our scheduled times pretty well lately, but it could always change at a moment's notice.
I'm envious.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you guys so much for doing this with me. I can't wait to do this again in 2 weeks. Good night.
Later.
Good night.
Later.